There is a brutal, undeniable reality about the WNBA that the establishment has allowed to fester for an entire season, and Courtney Williams just ripped the doors off the entire charade. The Minnesota Lynx All-Star guard stepped up and said out loud what the league office, what the front office executives, what the old guard veterans have been too cowardly to say for months. She looked directly at the camera and told her fellow WNBA players to grow the hell up. Her exact words. Grow the hell up, stop playing victim, stop running around acting like Caitlin Clark is racist. Stop acting like every single one of her fans is racist no matter what their race is, and most importantly, stop treating the internet like it is a real place. Because while the rest of the league has been drowning in manufactured outrage and social media hysteria, Caitlin Clark has been out here pulling up from ranges nobody else in the league can touch, putting up must-see television every single night and single-handedly dragging this league into mainstream relevance. And Courtney Williams just became the first active player with the guts to defend her. Welcome back. This is WNBA Pro, and today we are documenting the moment one player finally broke ranks with the victim industrial complex that has been poisoning this league since the day Caitlin Clark was drafted. Before we go any further, I need you to understand exactly what Courtney Williams risked by saying what she said. This is not some retired legend commenting from a safe distance. This is not some media personality with nothing to lose. This is an active all-star guard, one half of one of the most respected backcourt duos in the league, stepping into the absolute buzzsaw of social media outrage to defend the one player the establishment has spent an entire year trying to tear down. And she did it knowing exactly what would come next. The quote tweets, the think pieces, the accusations, the pile-on. She knew all of it was coming, and she said it anyway. Let me walk you through exactly what Courtney Williams said because every single word matters. She started by addressing the entire social media situation head-on. It's not that serious, she said. Press the block button and move on with your life. You guys are getting messages from people that have Michael Jordan as their profile photo, or SpongeBob SquarePants, or a Power Ranger. Block them and move on. Can we grow up and act like adults professionally? You guys are getting paid millions of dollars now. There's going to be a not-so-positive side to it as well. Can everybody stop with the victim mentality? Stop, rewind that, read it again. You guys are getting paid millions of dollars now. Courtney Williams just said the quiet part out loud. The part that Christine Brennan has been documenting in her book. The part that every single person watching this league closely has known for months. The WNBA just had its most profitable season in history because of Caitlin Clark. Attendance records shattered. Television ratings through the roof. Sponsorship deals that were unthinkable 2 years ago. And the financial beneficiaries of that explosion, the players who are now getting paid more than they ever have, are spending their time on social media playing victim instead of saying thank you. Courtney Williams looked at that entire circus and said enough. The internet is not a real place, she continued. When you treat the internet like a real place, that's when you get everybody acting like it's the end of the world. But these people aren't real. Press the block button. Press the block button and move on. Just press the block button and move on. 3 times. She said it 3 times. Because apparently that is how many times you have to repeat basic common sense before it sinks in with professional athletes who have somehow convinced themselves that anonymous trolls with cartoon avatars represent an existential threat. And then Courtney Williams went even further. She defended Caitlin Clark directly. From the jump she said, "Y'all have been doing way too much when it comes to this Caitlin Clark thing. Y'all are hating. The girl is the most legit player in the league. She's must-see TV. She's pulling up from range that nobody else in the league is. She's a hell of a player. She ain't bothering nobody. She shows love. Why are y'all hating? Why are y'all trying to push her out of the league? Why is everybody trying to play victim? It's ridiculous. Let me be entirely clear with you right now. That is the most explicit, most unambiguous defense of Caitlin Clark that any active WNBA player has offered since she entered the league. Not a hedged statement, not a diplomatic both sides comment, not a carefully worded press release approved by a publicist. Courtney Williams called Caitlin Clark the most legit player in the league, said she's must-see television, praised her range, and then asked the question that everybody watching this disaster has been asking for months. Why are y'all hating? Why are y'all hating? That is the question that has defined this entire season, and Courtney Williams just forced it into the open. Because the answer, the real answer that nobody in the league office wants to admit, is that the old guard cannot handle the fact that a straight white rookie from Iowa just became more famous, more marketable, and more financially valuable than every veteran in the league combined. And instead of embracing that moment, instead of riding that wave to the mainstream relevance they have been begging for since the league was founded, they chose jealousy, they chose resentment, they chose to play victim. And now we have Christine Brennan, the veteran sports journalist who literally wrote the book on this disaster, laying out exactly how the WNBA failed. She sat down with Dan Dakich, and I want you to listen closely to what she said because she just confirmed everything we have been documenting on this channel for months. Christine Brennan described Caitlin Clark as a women's basketball player that literally anyone in the United States who is breathing would know their name. Think about that. Think about how rare that is. Think about how many decades the WNBA has existed without producing a single player who could claim that level of mainstream recognition. And then think about what the league did when that player finally arrived. Brennan brought up Dr. Harry Edwards, the man behind the Black Power salute at the 1968 Mexico City Olympics, a legend in sports activism, currently fighting cancer, and someone who loves Caitlin Clark, loves watching her play, loves everything about the importance of Caitlin Clark to the game. And Dr. Harry Edwards said, in no uncertain terms, that the WNBA failed the players. Failed the players, not failed Caitlin Clark, failed the players. Because when you have an incredible cultural shift coming, when you can see it happening in real time, when you have crowds waiting outside arenas in the cold for hours like it's a Bruce Springsteen concert, like it's Beyoncé, like it's Taylor Swift, and it's all to watch one woman play basketball, you have a responsibility as a league to prepare your workplace for that moment. You have Zoom calls, you have meetings, you help these strong, tough Title IX women have conversations about what is about to happen. Not because they are damsels in distress, but because this is such an unusual occurrence that it requires institutional preparation. The WNBA did none of that. None of it. And instead, in the void created by that catastrophic leadership failure, they allowed aggression and anger to fester. Christine Brennan's exact words, they allowed it to fester like some pot on a stove that has now just boiled over. And that is where we are right now. The pot has boiled over. The anger is everywhere. The resentment is poisoning every conversation. And the person who should have been welcomed as the savior of the league is instead being treated like an invader. Christine Brennan made it crystal clear that no one has said on the record, I hate her because she's white. No one has said I hate her because she is straight. Those exact words have never been spoken, but, and this is the part that matters, it is crystal clear when you use your eyes and do the reporting that the WNBA totally botched Caitlin Clark's arrival. Totally botched it. And that failure sits directly on Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. Cathy Engelbert, the commissioner, the person whose entire job is to anticipate moments like this and prepare the league to handle them. Christine Brennan said she likes Cathy Engelbert, she knows her. But the lack of anticipation of the moment when you could see it coming a mile away is inexcusable. 4 million more people watched the women's final with Caitlin Clark than watched the men's final. 4 million more. Let that number sink in for a second. You and I never thought we would see more people watching the women's championship than the men's championship in basketball. That is a seismic, generational, once-in-a-lifetime shift. And the WNBA was completely and utterly unprepared for it. Completely and utterly unprepared. Christine Brennan called it ridiculous, and she is right. It is ridiculous. It is a joke. It is the reason this league has been stuck in obscurity for decades. Because when the moment finally arrived, when the mainstream finally showed up, when the money finally came, the people running the league let hate and jealousy ruin what could have been the most beautiful moment in the history of women's basketball. Instead of embracing it, they did everything they could to push the biggest star in the history of women's basketball away. And it gets worse, so much worse. Because Christine Brennan documented exactly how the media and the old guard turned on Caitlin Clark the moment she made the transition from college to the pros. These are the same people, Brennan said, who loved Caitlin Clark, who couldn't wait to cover every Iowa game. But when Caitlin Clark made the turn to the WNBA, all of a sudden everything changed. Sheryl Swoopes started making lies. Brennan called them lies, not mistakes, not errors, lies. Swoopes claimed Caitlin Clark was 25 or 26 years old, that she took 30 shots a game, that she was on her 5th or 6th COVID year. All lies, easily disprovable lies. And then other people defended Sheryl Swoopes' lies instead of correcting them. Diana Taurasi, one of the greatest players in WNBA history, instead of saying, hey, welcome kid, instead of being the tough veteran who shows respect, said reality is coming kind of quick to the shins. A threat, thinly veiled, but a threat, directed at a 22-year-old rookie who was about to enter the league. Christine Brennan said she would hate herself if she did that to a 22-year-old coming into her industry, and she is right to feel that way. Because what Diana Taurasi did, what Sheryl Swoopes did, what so many veterans did, was not mentorship, it was not tough love. It was a constant drumroll of negativity and meanness. It was a message that said we don't like you anymore, sent to the one player who could have saved this league. And all of this happened, Brennan pointed out, after the WNBA spent decades begging to be taken seriously. She covered the league from the beginning. She was getting laughed at on sports radio shows for even talking about women's basketball. Callers would come in and joke. And she handled it because she believed in the product, she believed in the players, she believed that one day the mainstream would show up, and then the mainstream showed up, in the form of Caitlin Clark. And instead of celebration, instead of gratitude, instead of recognition that this is the thing they have been waiting for, the league gave her hostility. Not that you have to love Caitlin Clark, Brennan said. Not that you can't criticize her when she does something wrong, of course you can. But this constant ignoring of the facts, ignoring of the data, trying to attach other people to the conversation about the importance of the league when it is only Caitlin Clark, is dishonest. A'ja Wilson is the best player in the league, that is a fact. But we are not talking about the best player. We are talking about all the financial things that Caitlin Clark brings to the league. The attendance, the ratings, the sponsorships, the money. And that started in her first year, continued into her second, and now here we are with the image that will define this era. Caitlin Clark, injured for most of last season and the league that wasted her. That is the image that will live forever. Not the championships, not the all-star games, not the feel-good stories. The image of a league that had everything it ever wanted handed to it on a silver platter and chose to throw it away because the person holding the platter did not look like the people who had been waiting. Christine Brennan said the hatred toward Caitlin Clark from the people in this league, the higher-ups, the front offices, the executives, all the way down to the players has been nasty. Nasty, that is the word she used. And she is right. But now we have Courtney Williams, standing up, breaking ranks, telling the truth. And the truth is simple. Caitlin Clark is not the problem. Caitlin Clark has never been the problem. The problem is a league that was so unprepared for success, so institutionally fragile, so captured by jealousy and resentment, that it could not handle the arrival of the one player who could change everything. Courtney Williams told her fellow players to grow the hell up, to stop playing victim, to press the block button and move on, to recognize that the internet is not a real place, to acknowledge that Caitlin Clark is must-see television, that she is pulling up from ranges nobody else in the league can touch, that she is a hell of a player and that she is not bothering anybody. And she asked the question that needed to be asked. Why are y'all hating? Why are y'all trying to push her out of the league? Why is everybody trying to play victim? Those are the questions, and the answers are uncomfortable. The answers reveal a league that is more interested in protecting the feelings of veterans than in building a sustainable future. The answers reveal a league that is more interested in ideological purity tests than in winning over mainstream audiences. The answers reveal a league that had a once-in-a-generation opportunity and blew it because the people in charge were too small, too petty, too captured by their own egos to see what was right in front of them. I am going to put my name on this. The WNBA will never have another opportunity like Caitlin Clark. Not in our lifetimes. The combination of talent, charisma, mainstream appeal, and cultural timing that she represents does not come around twice. And the league botched it completely, utterly, catastrophically. And the only reason we are still pretending otherwise is because the people who run this league, the people who cover this league, the people who benefit from this league have too much money and too much ego tied up in the fiction that everything is fine. But everything is not fine. Courtney Williams knows it, Christine Brennan knows it, Dr. Harry Edwards knows it, and if you have been watching closely, you know it too. Caitlin Clark is out here right now doing exactly what Courtney Williams said, pulling up from range, playing must-see basketball, showing love, not bothering anybody, and the league that should be building statues of her is instead allowing a pot to boil over on the stove, letting aggression and anger fester, and hoping that nobody notices the catastrophic leadership failure that got us here. Courtney Williams noticed, and she said something. And now the question is whether anybody else in that locker room, anybody else in that league, anybody else with a platform and a voice will have the courage to do the same. Drop your most honest take in the comments below. Is Courtney Williams the only active WNBA player with the guts to tell the truth about Caitlin Clark? Or are there others waiting in the wings who are just afraid to speak up? I want every opinion that is willing to commit to one side. No hedging, no both sides. Pick one and defend it. Hit the notification bell because this story is not over. The backlash against Courtney Williams is coming. The league's response is coming. And Caitlin Clark's next move is coming. We will see you in the next video.